They faced red tape.
We appear in courts around SADC, and this has nothing to do with politicians. It's a matter, at best, between the court and the practitioner, or between the court and the law society of that country. That we were prepared to do. But once you introduce the subjective views of politicians, in this particular case, actually, this is the classical case that demonstrates why you should not have politicians. Because the minister who was now supposed to give us permission, A, was the chief electoral agent of Mnangagwa. B, he personally had filed an affidavit in these proceedings opposing our application.
We're talking about the Justice Minister.
Yes, the Justice Minister of Zimbabwe. He has filed an affidavit opposing this application. So how do you expect him to now basically give the other side the right to legal counsel? Because that's what it's about. It's not about us. We are professionals. It doesn't matter if they allow us or not, but it's the rights of the litigant to have counsel of his choice. Because irrespective of the outcome of this, whether Chamisa wins or loses the case, the point of the matter remains that he has been now denied the rights of counsel of his choice. And the fact of the matter is that Zimbabwe is, whether it's a reciprocating country or not, I mean, I spoke to the minister, former Minister Chinamasa, who was Minister of Justice outside court, and he was boasting that he's the one who put in this law to restrict appearances. So I said, I thought we were all Pan-Africanists. And he had no answer to that. And I said, so now because of the colonial borders, one Mpofu, Advocate Mpofu from Zimbabwe cannot talk, but the other Advocate Mpofu from South Africa cannot talk, the other one can talk. What is that? And he had no answer to that. So it was clearly meant for this particular case, and it was unfair.
Violent clashes between police and protesters on the streets of Kampala in Uganda this week, following the detention of opposition leader Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, popularly known as Bobi Wine. The musician turned politician is the key threat to President Yoweri Museveni's 33-year rule. He's used his music to speak out against Museveni's leadership. Angelique Kidjo and Coldplay's Chris Martin are among those who've called for his release. Let's get you more on that top story now. Ugandan opposition MP Bobi Wine, who was arrested after the president's motorcade was stoned in the West Nile region, was released and re-arrested this week. He's being charged with treason. Protesters demanding his release have clashed with the military. President Yoweri Museveni has ruled the country for 33 years and is facing his biggest challenge yet. Let's expand on this. I'm joined now from our Pretoria studios by Sipho Mantula. He is an Africa analyst. Thank you very much, Sipho. Always a great pleasure chatting to you. This is not the first time that Yoweri Museveni has clamped down on the opposition, but there's something different in the air with this particular arrest.
That is quite true. This is very unique in the sense that this youngest member of parliament and being the artist, he has been arrested, and as you've said, he has been charged, and he went to the military court during this week and again arrested. And one can look at the issues that are now playing out. As you know, that Uganda in 2021 will be going for the presidential elections. Now, this young MP is a threat to the current ruling president, and as well, he has a popular support from the young people of Kampala.
Indeed. We've heard from Angelique Kidjo, Wole Soyinka, amongst others, but we haven't heard anything from leaders on the continent, unless I'm wrong.
Actually, if one looks at Kenya, Nairobi has been very vocal, as well as you'll know that Uganda is the chair of the East Africa community. And as you have raised the issue of the solidarity amongst other artists, I think this is very good for the other senior artists, or what can say veteran artists, to be putting their solidarity in line with what Bobi Wine is going through now. And one will say that these are the challenges that we are having of a long-standing presidents in the continent, not even giving the young leaders a chance to can raise their views. And this is very sad once more that African Union, it is silent. As you are talking about African leaders, one would have thought that the African Union will be concerned in terms of even the arrest and the torture that has been raised.
young people, not just in Uganda or in Kenya, yearning for a change. In terms of Bobi Wine himself, what is it that he offers the people of Uganda?
One can say that what he has done, remember that he has been labeled as the ghetto president, meaning he do understand the problems and the challenges facing the young people of Kampala. One other aspect it is that he is able to can speak in their language. He is able to look around the issues of poverty, unemployment, and even challenging the issue of corruption, as well as the aged members of parliament, ministers and presidents. So one can say that he will be the new fresh breath in terms of the leadership, but as well as being an independent. He might be going in those elections in 2021 with maybe coalition of the senior leaders in Uganda.
Are you at all surprised by President Yoweri Museveni's response in this matter? He hasn't said anything, taking to social media to tweet about other things apart from this issue.
One can say that we are not surprised with our senior elder leaders in the continent, how they've been treating the opposition parties. But as well, remember that President Museveni is still angry with what happened on the 13th of August when his car was being stoned. And maybe he is trying to be playing diplomatic games there by not raising the issues, because like I've said, he is the head of the East Africa community, and as well as the AU is watching on the moves that have been going on, because this being an international cry about his conduct towards opposition parties. So one might say that there might be some change of heart, since there was pressure, there was violence during the week in Kampala, and that might threaten even economic growth of that country.
Indeed. Thank you very much to Africa analyst Sipho Mantula. Always great to get your views.